The family's growing fast and you need a vehicle with lots of space, lots of seats and lots of flexibility. A high-riding SUV is the preference and you're ready to explore the premium end of the market. This head-to-head comparison brings together two 7-seat SUVs, well over 5 metres long and powered by grunty turbo diesel engines, the Audi Q7 50 TDI Quattro S-Line and the BMW X7 xDrive30d. We're familiar with the cars from recent testing and able to give you a comprehensive rundown of their relative strengths and weaknesses. But before we dive in, you can find the link to my detailed written review in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are and haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends and click that bell icon so you can stay on top of all our latest videos. What is it about primo German cars and massive grilles? If this trend continues, we'll soon be looking at grilles on wheels with car bodies attached as a cosmetic afterthought. First, let's look at the X7.
You're never going to mistake it for anything other than a BMW. The biggest application so far of the brand's signature kidney grille puts me in mind of a certain carrot-loving bunny. It takes some getting used to, but it's also important from an efficiency point of view with active flaps, managing airflow through to the engine or closing to help improve aerodynamics. These slim headlights are optional lasers in place of the standard adaptive LEDs. And these rims are once again optional 22s in place of the standard 20-inch rims. It certainly has presence, partly due to its sheer scale. But the surfaces are tightly wrapped and attention to design detail is obvious. The rear end is neatly composed with these subtle chrome accents, slim LED taillights and dual exhausts, enhancing the premium look and feel. The interior is awash with primo leather wood trim and brushed metal highlights. Highlight in the front are these two 12.3-inch screens. This one primarily for instruments and driving data, this one over here for multimedia, vehicle setup and a whole bunch of other stuff. They're both configurable and some functions are able to swap between the two. They're amazing.
The Audi's huge single-frame grille echoes the appearance of a wide-mouthed shark. The Q7 also featuring a narrow angular LED headlight design which enhances its slightly menacing gaze. The big Audi's proportions are closer to that of a traditional wagon, with big rims filling the wheel arches and the roofline tapering gently to the chamfered rear end. Lengthy taillight units feature distinctive repeating LED graphics, while a horizontal connecting chrome trim piece across the back of the car accentuates the Q7's width and lower overall height. But let's look inside. Just about everything in here is controlled by these three ultra-slick screens. The one in front of me is Audi's virtual cockpit, which is a configurable instrument display. At the top of the center console is a large one for multimedia and a slightly smaller one below it for heating, ventilation and air conditioning. It also doubles as a writing pad for the navigation. It's all very slick, looks awesome, and the haptic buttons enhance that smartphone feel. Both SUVs are powered by a 3-litre 6-cylinder turbo diesel engine, V6 in the Audi and inline in the BMW, each driving all four wheels through an 8-speed auto transmission. Sophisticated all-wheel drive systems seamlessly distribute power to the wheels that can make best use of it, which is brilliant in damp conditions or on loose surfaces. And as is usually the case, with size comes weight. And this car weighs in at about 2.4 tonnes. Yet BMW claims it'll accelerate from 0 to 100 km/h in about 7 seconds, which is pretty impressive. And this turbo diesel engine produces plenty of torque, and it's available low down. The peak is there from 2,000 to 2,500 RPM, and whenever you want it, you can go. So no surprise, ride quality is quite incredible. You've got double wishbones at the front and multi-links at the rear working in concert with an adaptive air suspension setup, and you really do feel as though you're just floating along.
but it's not as if it's wallowy or unwieldy in any way. The car still feels well buttoned down. It's just able to deal with imperfections so beautifully. It's a tremendously comfortable car. The electromechanically assisted steering doesn't exactly provide a sports car link between you and the road. The feel isn't really there, but given it's all-wheel drive, the natural bias or the default setting for the torque is going to the rear, and you can actually feel that in terms of the setup. It feels balanced and dynamically pretty good for a car of this size and weight. There may be a turbo diesel engine under that bonnet, but noise levels are impressively low. And despite this car's size, visibility over both shoulders is pretty good. As well as that, in typical BMW fashion, the ergonomics are excellent. Everything's where it should be. It's an easy car to drive. And these front sports seats, adjustable in so many ways, are just brilliant. Despite its size and chunky curb weight, the Q7 50 TDI is claimed to accelerate from 0 to 100 km/h in 6.5 seconds, and maximum torque is available from 2250 to 3250 RPM, and with 8 ratios in the automatic transmission, you're never far away from that sweet spot. And pulling power is nice and strong. Then there's the ride. It's magnificent. Despite the big 21-inch rims wrapped with low-profile Continental rubber, the adaptive air suspension and the continuously variable dampers do an amazing job.
So, the Audi holds an advantage in terms of road feel through the steering, while the BMW's extra supple yet supportive chairs have a slight edge. Also worth noting, the all-wheel drive is great for towing. Nothing like all corners doing their bit at the boat ramp. And thankfully both cars boast huge brakes, well able to cope with additional loads hitched to the back. Both these cars are more than 5 metres long and around 2 metres wide, so parking, especially in the cut and thrust of the shopping centre, demands your full attention. But lots of proximity sensors and cameras, including an overhead view, as well as light low-speed steering, make the job relatively straightforward in the Q7 and X7. Room to move is something a big family needs plenty of, and these premium 7-seat SUVs open up the great indoors. The BMW is loaded with tech, but
there's also heaps of space for cups, bottles, keys, all the other stuff you might have, but really it's the next row back where the wide open spaces really start to open up. So the first clue to how much space there is in this second row is the length of these rear doors. They are big, and once you're inside, you realise that this is pretty much the best seat in the house. Ventilation stack in the centre here gives rear seat passengers the ability to dial temperature up and down. USB ports everywhere, a 12-volt outlet, so everyone can stay powered up and happy. As well as that, fold down, you've got some more storage, a nicely lined little bin here, and a flip out pair of cup holders. There are bottle holders in the door as well. They'll just fit in here. It's more a cup holder. I think that's evidence of the fact, but plenty of space. However, even the people in the way back seat behind us have got it pretty good. Getting into this third row is pretty straightforward thanks to this easy folding second row. And once you're back here, you are far from forgotten. I'm 183 centimetres tall, and I've got just enough leg room to be comfortable, lots of headroom, and things like separate ventilation. There's climate control buttons up here. Airbags, so that's not forgotten either. You've also got an armrest, cup holder, USB port. It's pretty good. I quite like it.
And what about the Audi?
For storage, there's a pair of cup holders in the centre console and bins in the doors with room for bottles, as well as an armrest between the seats with a shallow storage tray underneath, plus multiple power and connectivity options, including wireless device charging.
Well, here we are in the second row, And I see this as the engine room of any family car. This is where it all happens. And Audi has done it really well. For example, these seats can slide fore and aft, but quite a long way, so that if you want to offer some more room to people in the third row, you can. But if that's not a big deal, put it back, and you can even recline into a rather luxurious position, which is pretty special. Also, this car has 4-zone climate control, and 2 of those zones are for the back seat here. So you can have your heating or air conditioning dialed up for either side of the back of the car. There's also fold-down centre armrest with a couple of cup holders to keep everything under control, lots of connectivity. Then it's time to enter the way back zone, the third row seat. There's not a lot of leg room, and headroom is a little bit limited too, but you do get a cup holder on either side. There aren't any connectivity or power options really, and you're going to get your air supply, I suppose, from the rest of the car, but really, it's a kid's zone.
Then the all-important question of boot space. First, the BMW.
The rear door opens remotely, of course, and even with 7 seats in place, there's a decent amount of luggage space on offer.
More with the third row folded. The air suspension even allows for ride height adjustment of 40mm to help with loading heavy or awkward things. And with all seats down, there's enough room for a cheeky 9 holes of indoor golf.
Now, on to the Audi.
Even with all 7 seats up, capacity is as much as a small hatch or city-sized SUV. Drop the third row via handy buttons near the back of the load space, and that grows substantially.
Lower the second and the third row seat, and you're on the cusp of a studio apartment. I think it's kitchen over there, maybe a lounge here. It's going to look great.
You can lower the rear end around 100mm at the touch of a button, which is really helpful.
Oh yeah, this auto tailgate's really handy too.
Both SUVs play a strong safety game, boasting a full suite of active tech designed to keep you out of trouble. For all the details, you can read my written review at carsguide.com.au. But the highlights are AEB, adaptive cruise, lane keeping assist, blind spot warning, a multiple camera 360-degree view, and self-parking. If an impact is unavoidable, there are 8 airbags on board both cars, including full-length side curtains covering all 3 rows. All 5 of the second and third row sitting positions feature child restraint baby capsule top tether points, 4 of the 5 in the BMW featuring ISOFIX anchors. And all the Audi's rear seats are ISOFIX equipped. These 2 SUVs go at it toe-to-toe when it comes to tech. The BMW X7 chips in with 10-speaker audio, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, digital radio and gesture control, as well as the twin digital display and control screens and a head-up display. The Audi Q7 packs a mega 19-speaker Bose audio system, as well as those 3 ultra-sleek screens and a head-up display. There's also wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto via USB to access approved apps via the MMI interface. And the kids fell in love with the adjustable ambient lighting on both cars. The Audi Q7 50 TDI Quattro S-Line will set you back just over $120,000 before on-road costs, with the BMW X7 xDrive30d weighing in at close to $134K. As you'd expect, both are loaded with standard equipment, with the details in my story on the site. Claimed fuel economy for the Q7 on the combined cycle is 6.8 litres per 100 kilometres. The X7 sitting at 7.3 litres per 100 kilometres. Over the course of recent testing, we saw a real-world average of 8.4 litres per 100 kilometres for the Q7 and 9.3 litres per 100 kilometres for the BMW. Both impressive results for cars of this size. Audi and BMW offer a 3-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which has been put to shame at the top end of the market by Genesis, Jaguar and Mercedes-Benz, with 5 years unlimited kilometre cover, but both include 24-hour roadside assistance for the duration of the warranty. For details on servicing, check my story on the site. Talk about close, this is a photo finish. These 2 are line ball all the way. If you need that little bit of extra oomph, more driving engagement, slicker tech and marginally better fuel economy, with the sweetener of a slightly lower cost of entry, the Audi Q7's looking good. But if you want even more space and the ultimate in user-friendly design, the X7 is the better option.